Mackintosh tilted his head curiously, concern evident in his eyes. You think? Is something wrong? She shook her head. Oh, no. I mean, I don't think so. I just can't, well... She trailed off into mumbling. Sorry, Fluttershy, I didn't quite catch that. She said she couldn't remember anything from last night, Applejack grumbled. Oh, the stallion chuckled. Oh, I wouldn't worry too much, Fluttershy. AJ's the same way right now. Another growl which he ignored. Besides, I walked you home last night. Her eyes widened as she shifted nervously. You did? Oh, thank you, Big Mackintosh. Did anything happen that I should remember? Mackintosh's countenance suddenly changed as he rubbed the back of his neck nervously and avoided looking directly at Fluttershy. Well, nothing really important. I mean, I guess some stuff did happen, but nothing bad or anything. Applejack actually raised her head off the table to give him a curious look. However, Rainbow Dash's arrival sidetracked her from grilling him any further. Dash sat down at the table with an uncharacteristic, deliberate ginger, and looked around at the others through squinted eyelids. Hi, Orange Blob, who's probably Applejack. Yellow Blob that's Fluttershy, and Big Red Splotch. That's Big Mackintosh, Fluttershy intoned. Dash squinted harder at the stallion. Oh, guess it is. Hiya, Big Mac. Mornin', Miss Dash. Ugh, just Rainbow Dash, or some version thereof, please, she groaned, and laid her head on the table. Fluttershy started rubbing her friend's back, and was rewarded with a slightly more pleasant groan. Pinkie Pie should be here soon. She said she'd be right behind me when I left Sugar Cube Corner. Sure enough, from the direction of Ponyville's popular sweet shop came a bouncing pink pony. Particularly, her bounce was far slower than normal, going so far as to violate all known laws of physics, as she was descending from a long jump as slowly as she launched herself into it. It was as though her whole body was trapped in slow motion. She landed softly and sat down next to Dash, her eyes eerily focused straight ahead, seemingly into infinity. She's been like that all morning, Dash commented. I think this is her version of a hangover. The other ponies nodded. It seemed to make sense, or at least as much sense as anything related to Pinkie Pie could be. It was then that Horta Cuisine, the cafe's Earth Pony owner, came to the table. Would you like to order, sir and madams? He asked in his well-cultured accent. Just some orange juice, if that's all right, Fluttershy said quietly. I'll have a mug of root beer, said Mackintosh, and I think you better just get every pony else water. I think that's all they can handle right now. Bowl. All eyes turned to Pinkie as soon as she spoke. Big bowl, she droned, eyes unmoving. Please. Both stallions arched an eyebrow at her. I guess make hers a big bowl of water if you can, Mackintosh finished. As you wish. And with that, the cream-colored stallion disappeared back into the cafe proper. Shortly thereafter, a familiar white unicorn trotted over. Good morning, every pony, Rarity greeted brightly. Dash immediately covered her head with her forelegs. Gah! Cheerful pony at 10 o'clock! Take cover! The fashionista giggled as she sat down. Oh, come now, Rainbow. Surely it's not all that bad. Besides, weren't you the one bragging all of yesterday about how no pony else in all of Ponyville could match your stamina? Applejack smirked. That was before she tried out drinking this farm mare. Ow. Her chuckle was cut short by a renewed throbbing in her noggin. Dash just grumbled and withdrew further into her forelegs. Horta Cuisine returned, and a minute later with a platter of drinks in his mouth. I shall bring out Miss Pie's bowl in a moment, he said, with a slight air of disdain as he passed out the drinks. I do apologize for not bringing it out with the rest of the drinks. It's all right, Hort, Mackintosh said. Sorry, I forgot to mention there's a couple more coming, and Rarity just got here. He glanced over to the newcomer. Ah, so she has. And what would you like, Miss Rarity? A pomegranate salsa would be fine, Horty, thank you, she smiled. Hort bowed and retreated back inside. She turned her attention to the gathered group. And how are you all feeling this beautiful morning? Huh, blah. Oh, I'm fine. Sun, so bright. Then close your eyes, Pinkie. Oh, yeah. Rarity had to cover her mouth with a hoof to suppress a giggle. She truly felt bad for her friends. Having suffered this ailment once or twice before herself, she couldn't help but be struck by the amusing reactions they were all having with their hangovers. "Oh, you poor dears," she finally said. "Don't worry, you'll recover soon enough." "Soon enough ain't soon enough," Applejack muttered. Just then, Hort returned again with Rarity's drink and Pinky's bowl, which he carefully set down in front of the pink pony. "Shall I get you a straw, madame?" he asked. Surely that would be more preferable than lapping it up straight, sploosh. Pinky pitched forward and planted her face squarely into the bowl, splashing some of its contents over to the sides. Hort and McIntosh were the only ones in the group who showed any sort of reaction to the mare's peculiarity. Staring befuddled at the bowl containing her partially submerged head, Rarity sipped demurely at her seltzer. "It's quite all right, boys," she said. "She's normally like this. Hort, we'll let you know when the rest of our group arrives." The stallion shook his attention away from Pinky. Of course, Miss Rarity," he said, and moved to another occupied table to take its occupant's orders, away from the odd group. Rarity looked around at the gathered group. "Odd that Twilight isn't here yet. She's usually so punctual." "I hope she's all right," Fluttershy said in a worried tone. "Do you think she's still at the library?" "She's in Canterlot," said Spike as he appeared beside the table, naturally taking the seat closest to Rarity. His statement drew questioning glances from all the others. "Canterlot?" Rarity asked. "Why is she in Canterlot? Did Princess Celestia summon her?" "Well, not exactly, although the princess did send me a note concerning Twilight," he explained, holding up a scroll bearing the royal seal. "See, things didn't go quite as planned last night, and—" A bright flash just off the main thoroughfare nearby caught everyone's attention. There, next to the road, stood a pair of unicorns, one dark blue and wearing glasses, and the other— "Oh, Twilight, darling, over here!" Rarity waved. The blue unicorn mare glanced toward their table and smiled brightly. "Oh, only 100 feet off! Oh, it's been so long since I've done that. I half expected we'd end up in Trottingham. Splendid!" "Yeah, wonderful," Twilight groaned, her very appearance like the poster filly for death. "There you are, Twilight," Spike exclaimed, as the mare pair approached. "I really wish you'd told me you were going to take off like that last night. Not that I was worried or anything. It's just I rather know what you're planning to do before you spring it." Twilight gingerly laid her head on the table and shut her eyes. "I didn't exactly plan it, Spike," she said in annoyance. "The alcohol messed with my magic receptors, and I had trouble compensating properly." "Oh, yes, a unicorn must be extremely careful when ingesting such strong drinks," the blue mare said gravely as she sat next to Twilight. "You are very fortunate you made it through unscathed as you did." "Unscathed, right," the student repeated dryly. "Hey, Twi?" Applejack spoke up. "Not to be rude or nothing, but are you going to introduce us to your new friend?" "Apologies, Miss Applejack. I should have done so before we sat down," said the blue mare. "Sister suggested that I travel incognito since this is not a formal visit. I yielded to her wisdom in this matter, especially since I do not want to cause a scene. I do ask that you keep your voices down and your reactions to a minimum." The ponies and dragon exchanged mystified glances with each other as the blue mare lifted her glasses off her nose and enveloped herself in a magical aura, briefly revealing an ethereal starry mane and pair of wings in full regal glory. As her glasses floated back to her nose, she resumed her disguise. She noticed wide eyes and hanging jaws all around the table. She smiled apologetically. "I do apologize for the subterfuge. As I said, I didn't want to cause a scene, and please, just call me Luna." Rarity was the first to recover from the shock. Of course, your Luna." She turned to Twilight. "Good heavens, Twilight! What in Equestria happened last night?" The purple unicorn sat upright and opened her mouth to explain, as she would in a lecture, and promptly closed it. She repeated the action a few times before finally deflating with a sigh. I don't remember. At all." Spike spoke up. "Well, I can tell you what happened right after we left the bar." "Please do, Spike," Luna piled, as a scroll, quill, and ink flashed into existence. "Sally was insistent that I get the complete story to relate to her later." Twilight groaned and covered her head, an overwhelming sense of dread oozing out of every pore. The baby dragon leaned back in his chair. "Well, let's see. I guess we better start from the beginning when we left the bar."